Good morning. I'm Scott Wright, General Director of Mobile Opera, and I'm with Peter Lake today. Peter James Lake is a tenor, well known to Mobile Opera, well known to this area. He's done quite a number of roles for us and lots of other. He's really rising tenor with a big career ahead of him. His last gig for us was as Alfredo in La Traviata. Did an absolutely beautiful job, and I'm really looking forward to having him back. My friend Peter Lake, who will be in Carmen October 22nd and 24th, 2021. If you don't have your tickets, you need to get them because they're selling quickly. Peter, how you doing?
I'm doing great this morning, Scott. How are you?
I'm doing great too. I think, they hadn't caught up with me yet
That's
anyway.
right. Well,
I
thank
know
you for
that
having me.
I know that things are they're opening up some here. How about your area? How are things doing? And are we getting back to live performance? What you got coming up besides Carmen?
It's a little touch and go every now and again, as you know, but I have a one-man Mario Lanza celebration
Oh yeah.
concert that I'm putting together for Opera Mississippi in November. So I'll pretty much turn around from Jose and suddenly become Mario Lanza for about 2 weeks there. It's going to be a lot of fun. Have some dialogue and kind of the idea of someone digging through Grandpa's old records, to tell the story of who Mario Alonso was and his gift of his voice to us all. Anyways, that's going to be a lot of fun. And then in the spring, I am singing Lenski in Eugene Onegin with Opera in the Heights, and that's been the plan. It was postponed for the 2020 pandemic quarantine era, and so that's kind of it's a current fingers crossed kind of thing, but that's the plan. So.
Good deal. I would love to see the Mario Lanza thing. You just kind of Mario Lanza reincarnate, I think. So that ought to be a great show.
Well, I'll quote you on that.
Yeah, and please do. And not only quote me, but send me the information so I can see if I can take it in. That'll be in Jackson, Mississippi.
Yes, Jackson, Mississippi at Dueling Hall on November 8th.
Great. Let's talk about Carmen just a little bit. I think everybody knows something about Carmen. It and Barber of Seville are probably the best known operas in the world, and I think that probably Carmen is the most recognized as far as the characters are concerned. Not only because it's been sung by Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd, but everybody else in between. So tell us about Carmen, though, just to make sure. Give us the Carmen plot in about 60 seconds or less.
All right, the quick version of Carmen. It opens in the streets of Seville, and the soldiers are hanging out. The local, prefects and cops and soldiers of the area, and come running out of the cigarette factory comes all the young girls who make the cigarettes, and of course, all the soldiers are very interested in this. And the one that catches their attention overall is the wild, free Romany girl named Carmen. And she immediately takes a liking to the only one who's ignoring her, Don Jose, who is a very troubled, shall we say, individual, but he immediately falls in love with her. He is, of course, pledged to marry a young woman from back home, the woman that mom likes, as it were. But he gets caught up in this web of lust and lies and murder that takes him on the road with Carmen and all of her criminal friends, as it were. And they have a bit of a smuggler's Star Wars adventure across the mountains until finally everything blows up and their relationship falls apart. And it ultimately culminates with her back in Seville and Jose tracking her down for one last either embrace or confrontation, which is what the end of the show reveals to us. So I won't give away anything else, but it's
So
one of
it's
the greatest operas of all time.
boy meets girl, boy gets girl, second boy meets girl, boy two gets girl, boy one gets mad and confronts her.
Yeah. So
Okay.
basically Grease, but
And
no.
I don't think there's a whole lot of spoiler there because I think everybody pretty well knows what happens to Carmen.
Oh yeah, I've just in case for the five people who come
The
who
five people,
never
yeah.
who do not know how it ends. You gotta be there.
And I hope there are five people who don't know opera that will
Be
come
so exciting.
even more because this is a perfect place to start opera. This
Yeah.
is it's relevant, it's understandable by today's standards. It is. I mean, it's a terrific way to get introduced to opera and one of the most dramatic, with some of the most beautiful music that there is in the genre. So I'm really looking forward to that and hoping it will be an introduction to some people.
Well, and it's a true verismo plot, which just means it's, telling a realistic story. And so it was the first opera I ever saw. I was exposed to other opera songs, of course, but the first full-length opera I saw was Carmen, and even at a very young age, it feels like you're watching a movie on stage. Some operas maybe they start and stop a little bit with the plot. This one, it's all
Right.
story. It's
Right.
all passion and plot, and it just drives to the very end. So it's a like you said, it's a perfect opera for someone who maybe doesn't think they like opera because they'll just get caught up in what's happening and want to know where this is all going.
That's right. It's a terrific when you can actually follow the plot. We do have super titles in
Mm.
English. It's sung in French, but we'll be doing super titles so that they can tell precisely what's being said. But you don't really even need the super titles. It is so it's so engaging and so enthralling that you just get wrapped up in Carmen, or at least I do.
I do, yeah. The characters kind of wear their emotions on their sleeves.
Right. Speaking of which, you play a character, Don Jose,
Yeah,
who can be, in some people's eyes, you play in different ways, but in some people's eyes, he can be pretty abusive with his jealousy and his possessiveness. And so I think a lot of people do see Jose as the villain. So do you? And if you see him as a villain, how does a nice guy like you prepare to play a villain?
practice, practice, practice. Take a left, right? Well, the magic with all great villains is that they believe they're right, right? So there's that whole element of
Good point.
how do you play a villain who believes he's right? Like that's the first question someone would be like is like, oh, so it's someone who believes that being physically abusive to Carmen is okay, and it's like, well, no, that's not how he feels. He um, as a student of acting and as a character developer makes me sound like a business as a developer of
You are a
character.
business.
Yeah. Like I mentioned, there's the young woman that he knows from his childhood, he's kind of pledged to marry, and so there is this side of Jose. He's a rough and tumble guy. In the play or in the book, he actually has uh, killed someone in a bout of manslaughter. Like he got in a fight and that person didn't make it, and so he's in the army, sort of. They said he could go to prison or he could serve, and so he's serving because he's got a temper and he's got some issues. But then this woman comes from his old village and reminds him of his mother's love and all this stuff, and he just sees the white picket fence and the peaceful home and the five children and everything, and that's something he truly wants. But then Carmen comes on the scene and he finds something else he never knew he wanted, and he wants to possess it. So that's the problem, is he is very selfish, he is very possessive, he is very volatile, and Carmen, of course, cannot be possessed. That's the entire point of her song and her character, is she is free. And she says over and over, I want freedom. And it's not so much that he doesn't want to hurt Carmen, he doesn't want to, ruin her life and his life. He just wants something from her that she never offered. And that's where his true villainy comes out, is he can't see past his selfishness um and his desires. So he kind of ruins everything. Not kind of, it's exactly what he does. And so that's, is that a villain? Yes, but it's also, I think, a very real complex character. Like we've seen these fights happen in our own lives. Like you see it at Walmart occasionally.
Just like
So
real people.
they're real people, and that's how I play him. Is because no, of course he doesn't want to hurt anyone. He is. I think he's just as shocked at some of the violent things he does in Act 3 as the audience is. But then by Act 4, he has completely lost all pretense of being a reasonable human being and is kind of reverted to a feral. I call it Jose's feral state in Act 4, where he's kind of gone mad. But that's opera too. So. Uh,
That is opera, and opera is a mirror of real life, things that we really don't want to experience in our lives, but we can
Yep.
experience them through the stage and through the acting abilities of people like yourself. So that's a great analysis of Jose, and I really like that and look forward to seeing that played out on the stage.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to play the role. And again, like getting back to his real person, I believe he and Carmen did share true love, but again, he was trying to. I feel like he's trying to make Carmen domesticated, as it were, and she is like, that's nothing that I ever signed up for, and so
Right.
maybe she really loved him, but she only loved him in her way, and he was trying to love her or make her love him in his way, and you can't do that to anybody. Um, you should never do that to anybody, especially not to Carmen.
Right. Right. Well, this is going to be a great role for you, I can tell, and I'm looking forward to hearing you. But beyond that, you've told us about Mario Lanza, which I think is also a great fit, and um, uh, what's on your bucket list? What have you not been asked to do yet that you're really hoping that someday you'll be on stage with?
I really want to get some more Donizetti under my belt. I would love to do Nemorino, of course, from The Elixir of Love, and take a stab at Edgardo from Lucia. Um, and of course, I think every tenor in some part of their hearts wants to sing Manrico and Cavaradossi someday. the big heavy hitters from Tosca and Il Trovatore. So, but those are ones I like to let my voice grow into and see where things go. But I really would love to do some Donizetti in the near future. It's very healthy for the voice. It sings so well, and it just the character. And of course, with Elixir, you get to do all character work. It's all except it's a bit more funny, and that's kind of nice to
Oh
do
yeah.
something lighthearted every now and again.
Right. Well, all great roles for you. I suspect, I predict that you're going to get to do them somewhere along the way. The performing arts, of course, right now, like everything else, have taken a real beating. So we're all trying to figure out how we can safely get back to doing what we do and not just recapture the past, but really prepare for a future. So do you see this happening? What do you hope to see for opera?
um, I hope to see. I mean, of course, I hope to see success and a return to uh, full seasons and everything, kind of getting back to a more profitable place for for opera companies, so that we can continue to uh, entertain and empathize with our audiences, as it were. As we sing, when you sing on stage for an audience, you both feel something. You give to the audience and they give to you, and so it's a very important act for us as artists, because it makes us feel alive as singers. But it's something that I think is very important for just the general world. It's the true empathetic experience. Like I said about Jose, is it's like, oh, he's this jealous jerk. It's like, well, yeah, but he's not trying to be. He is, he's becoming something terrible, and that's because the plot tells him he is. But we all hope that someone like him would find help and find love and find peace, right? And I feel like that's something that theater allows us to feel, the feelings of people we would never want to associate with. If I met Jose in my real life, I don't know how much I'd want to sit down and have a coffee with him. But in the theater, I can literally walk in. Now, of course, as the actor, I'm walking in his costume. But like, if I'm going to see the show, I have to go along on this ride with Carmen and Jose and Escamillo and Micaela and experience everything they feel. And it gets me out of my own little head and my own little world and makes me see things from someone else's perspective. And that's what I believe. If you want to talk about the high, lofty goal of art, it's that to bring people together in an empathetic experience.
Right. And it
And
does.
otherwise, it's just fun.
That's the shared experience that we talk about, and you can't really, it's hard to describe, but people do communicate in ways that are nonverbal, even when they're sitting in a dark hall watching something together. We talked about that before the recording came on, that I find it difficult to talk to this little camera as opposed to talking to Peter Lake. But so we need that. We need it for our community. We need it for our humanity. And I hope that we can really get back to live performance and on a regular basis and on a much larger scale. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to having you here, Peter. Looking forward to seeing you as well as seeing you as Jose, and we'll have a great Carmen for people to enjoy October 22nd and 24th here in Mobile. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.